attendees, and I believe that in order to be respectful of everyone's time, we're going to get started. So I would like to introduce our first guest today. He is Mayor Barry Glantz. Mayor Glantz was first elected in April of 2012. He is the mayor of Creve Coeur. He lives with his wife, Sherry, in Creve Coeur. And some of you may know that Sherry is a member of the Ladue School Board. Is she currently the president?
No.
No, she is not, but she was at one point.
Yep.
Barry has 3 grown children, Evan, Corey, and Marissa. Mayor Glantz was elected to 4 terms on the Creve Coeur City Council from 1992 to 2000, and he served as the council president from 1996 to 1997. In addition, he was appointed to 3 terms on the Creve Coeur Planning and Zoning Commission from 2002 to 2011. So he's been very involved in his community. Mayor Glantz was formerly the president of Glantz and Associates Architects, an award-winning residential architectural design firm located in Creve Coeur. His company was purchased by McBride and Son Homes in 2013. Mayor Glantz is a graduate of the University of Texas at Austin with a Bachelor of Architecture degree, and he's a member of the National Association of Home Builders Board of Directors and has also served 2 terms as vice president of the Home Builders Association of St. Louis and Eastern Missouri. In addition to his service with the city of Creve Coeur, Mayor Glantz is a member of the St. Louis County Building Commission and the advisory board at Enterprise Bank. He is also the past president of the Municipal League of Metro St. Louis and a former board member of the East-West Gateway Council of Governments. In addition, I will tell you that I've known Mayor Glantz for a long time. We actually have worked together not only as neighbors, but on the Municipal League board, and he is a man that has been able to take us through all sorts of issues with the league and our municipalities. He always has a very steady thought and always has good, reasonable solutions. So he is currently running for the county council seat in the 2nd district. And for those who may not be familiar with how the council actually affect the city of Olivet, we actually have 2 county council members who represent the city of Olivet. The 2nd district actually encompasses everyone north of Olive Boulevard, and the 5th district encompasses people south of Olive Boulevard. So currently the 5th district is held by Lisa Clancy, and she is not up for re-election at this time. But the seat in the 2nd district is coming up for re-election, and Mayor Glantz asked if he could have an opportunity to speak to all of you today. So I am going to turn it over to him, and then we'll do a little Q&A with him. So the floor is yours.
Mayor Springer, thank you. That was a very nice introduction. And of course, you haven't touted your own accomplishments, but I've worked with Mayor Springer for a number of years, as she alluded to, and very proud, thrilled that you currently serve as president of the Municipal League. The Municipal League represents all the municipalities throughout St. Louis County and really does an excellent job of trying to educate and advocate for the residents of St. Louis County. So, Ruth, thank you so much for giving me a little bit of time today. I don't want to take a lot of time because I'm really interested in hearing what the Great Rivers Greenway is proposing too, because it affects both of our communities. As Mayor Springer indicated, my name is Barry Glantz, and I'm the mayor of Creve Coeur. Interesting side note is that I was born in Olivet and through grade school lived off of Lantern Lane. So I'm very familiar with Olivet, and we consider you all a sister city to us. As a matter of fact, Thursday, I think Barbara is presenting for Olivet. but we have the opportunity to give sort of a state of the city address to the Creve Coeur Olivet Chamber of Commerce, and that's Thursday, and I always look forward to doing that. So just a little background. I have been serving my community in numerous capacities for 28 years, and I think municipal experience is critically important, even at the county level. And I oftentimes think that St. Louis County forgotten that our municipalities are probably, I think, one of the greatest assets in St. Louis. And I know a lot of people talk about how we're fractured and divided. And I think the reality, that's a little unfair of an assessment. I think municipalities, I think there's a strong sense of identity that comes with our municipalities. And I think that's a positive for the region. And our municipalities, I know that we share and cooperate on a lot of different efforts that are actually quite beneficial to the residents that we serve. And I think so saying that we're fractured in that regard, I think, is a little bit of an unfair assessment. So one of the foundations reason that I'm running is that in these, and I would call them difficult times with everything that's going on, our community, our greater St. Louis community, is in need of leaders who guide with a steady hand, safeguarding things that are good, advocating for what needs improvement, and collaborating for improvement rather than being divisive in order to achieve successful outcomes to very complex issues that affect all of our communities. We often hear elected officials talking about how they'll fight for us. And I really, really dislike that verbiage. I think fighting implies that there's going to be a winner and a loser. And in fact, what I think we promote through the municipalities is the opportunity and finding ways to work together, which means that sometimes we talk, but more importantly, I think we should be listening and taking appropriate actions in order to reach a place of consensus. Consensus allows everyone to thrive instead of picking winners and losers. As the mayor of Creve Coeur, I'm proud of my efforts of fostering a genuine sense of community, and I think you all are doing that as well in Olivet, and continue to thrive in that regard. You know, Ruth and I have oftentimes joked, I have a monthly coffee with the mayor, and I think, and I certainly don't own that concept. I think it's a good idea, and there's a number of municipalities that do that too. What we found by listening to constituents and stakeholders is that when people come to city council meetings, it's rather intimidating. So having an informal opportunity to meet and talk with elected representatives, and for leaders like Mayor Springer and myself to be able to listen to what's on the minds of our constituents is critically important. And to do so in a respectful and thoughtful manner is what local government should be about. Not going to agree on every issue. We're not going to disagree on every issue, but having opportunities to come together and listen in an informal basis and with respect for other ideas, I think, is critically important. And so I'd like to take that same local leadership that I've employed in Creve Coeur, Mayor Springer is doing in Olivet. I'd like to take that to a broader level and bring that sense of collaboration, cooperation to St. Louis County government as well. I think I've talked enough about myself. Ruth, thank you again for the opportunity. If there are questions, I'm happy to try and answer those to the best of my ability. If not, I'd love to listen to what your other guests have to say and see how Coffee with the Mayor plays out. but I really appreciate the opportunity, and I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you on the Municipal League. I think you're a breath of fresh air and bring a lot of good energy to the organization. So
Thank you.
I thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mayor Clance? Any, even if he's not in your district, if you're not in his district or his potential district? Please don't be shy. Just ask whatever you'd like to ask. I don't see any hands. I do have, hold on, a couple of questions. All right. This question is from Ed. Why do you think there's so much discussion about racism in our country these days, and what should we do about that issue?
I think there's a lot of systemic issues in our country.
I'm sorry, county. I'm sorry. That's why I should never do this without these.
Oh, that's
My bad.
I think there's a lot of systemic issues and inequities in the greater St. Louis region. And I think it's very frustrating to people. I will tell you, I don't pretend for a second to have all the answers. I will tell you that we had the former Burn Park, which is we renamed, when the city of Creve Coeur renamed the Dr. Venable Park recently. I think, and by the way, it was named Burn Park in the late 50s, early 60s in Creve Coeur, and quite honestly, and we've owned this history, and it's irrefutable. The city of Creve Coeur took Dr. Venable's property. He was a Black doctor because the neighbors didn't want Black families moving into the subdivision, and the city of Creve Coeur took the property under eminent domain, under the auspices that we were going to build a park. But it was really a racist effort to keep a Black family out of Creve Coeur. That was the late 50s, early 60s, and it had remained named Burn Park up until last year, when the Creve Coeur City Council decided to take action and actually own the narrative of what happened with the property. I'm proud of my efforts to help facilitate that, and by facilitating, we had literally had a coffee with the mayor like you're doing. We had over 250 people attend, so we held it at the Danforth Plant Science Center. It gave people an opportunity to speak, and it gave elected officials the opportunity to listen to the injustices that as a community, as a Creve Coeur community, have done in the past. It gave us a chance to get the true narrative out and to start to remedy the mistake that we made over 60 years ago. I think, so that's a long-winded answer. To answer the gentleman's question personally, I think part of the racism problem that we have is that we haven't given people the opportunity to speak and to listen to disenfranchised voices. And our leaders need to do a better job of, if nothing, listening to those stories and seeing if there is a way to help remedy the injustices that so many people feel that we have in our greater St. Louis community.
Just as an aside note, we'll be hosting on July the 23rd a listening session that we have been planning for quite some time now. It is going to be members of our Black community, and if for some reason we are doing it, we have asked members of the Black community to invite people. We're trying to do it small so that we can we can do it face to face. We don't have to do it by Zoom. We can stay within the confines of what the law currently allows us to do. And it will not be the only one that we are going to do. So if for some reason you are not involved in this first one, then there will be others. And it is my goal to listen. I want to hear what has transpired inside and with our Black community for as long as, you know, people can remember back. And that is the goal. And as Mayor Glantz said, and then when you hear the stories and you listen carefully, you will start to probably hear a pattern of things. And from that, you can craft better policy.
Right.
Crafting policy in a void is never a good thing. It generally results in bad policy that becomes difficult to either enact, or when you do enact it, you realize there are so many unintended consequences of that. So you want to listen first and then think and then create. And that is what obviously they did in Creve Coeur. And so while it's not widely publicized inside of our community, we are going to be doing a listening session. So, and it will not be the only one. There will be multiple. I want to see how this goes first, and how how comfortable people are coming face to face with each other and socially distance, and make sure all of that works for us. So,
and to that point, Ruth, I think that's very, very well stated. And to that point, we all have to start somewhere.
mm-hmm.
I'm not saying for a moment that renaming a park is the end all answer, but it was a start.
Mm-hmm.
We have a task force now that that is talking about what sort of memorial they can put in the park, and we're also talking with the Ladue and Parkway school districts about how we can further educate the community, because solutions aren't just a one-shot deal. It's ongoing. But to your point, you have to start somewhere. We started by listening and then renaming the park, but there's still far more work to do.
Yeah. I'm going to move some of these questions along. And Ed, I would like to get back to your question, Ed. And we can do a whole coffee if you'd like on all of these other topics. And maybe my August coffee could be, you know, we can revisit all of these things. So let me, because your question, Ed, the last one that you have here is all encompassing. That's a huge conversation. We could spend an hour in that conversation and still not have exhausted all of it. So Barb, and Barb would like to answer that question live. So let me just get to one of the other questions first. What needs to be done on the county council? In your opinion?
One of the things that I think needs to be done is that the county council members need to start working cooperatively and collaboratively for the betterment of the greater St. Louis community. And I didn't really want to get overly political, but fighting along political party lines isn't necessarily advancing the agenda for the betterment of St. Louis County. And I think we need to start electing and holding our elected officials accountable for working together for the betterment of our greater community, rather than just playing partisan politics.
Agreed. Another question: what does the county council do compared to what the municipal city councils do? How are we different?
Well, it's county has a few more functions than municipalities, but I think the municipalities are a great example of how local government is supposed to work, and that is they're supposed to be responsive to their constituents. And having, you know, Creve Coeur has 18,000 people. Your population is a little smaller than that, but you can relate better to your constituents and solve issues locally And I think that's what the county council does. Uh, at that level, it's a far greater number of people, and so it's hard to provide the same level of personal services. But the county is responsible for trash and taking care of the roads, and police services. No different than the municipalities. It goes a little further that there's a tax assessor and court system, that sort of thing. It's just a larger area, but should function as well as our municipal governments do.
Yeah, they have a health department too.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about our county, and I don't know if this is the way it is in all counties, but our county also functions in some ways like a municipal government, because the unincorporated areas of the county, which the population number is about 300,000 maybe people. So all the municipalities, the population of all the municipalities is about 600,000. So if you're roughly, the population of the county is a little less than 1 million, but let's just use the million as the benchmark. So there's about 300,000 people that do not reside inside of municipalities, and they depend on their services like trash pickup and police and things like that from the county. So it almost would be better at times if the county could get out of the municipal business and be a county. And a county then that's that other layer, and they raise things up to their level. And when you have to divide everything between the two things, you get into places where municipal government is just better at it because we're closer to the people. And
absolutely,
that for me is part of what's broken in the county that should be fixed. How it gets fixed, that's a complex issue that would require a lot of conversation as well. But I think that is one of the things I'd like to see, is them get out of the municipal business and get into the county.
Yep.
So I hope that answered your question, Susan. Let's see, there was one other question. When is the state going to be back to normal? I don't know, my crystal ball is out.
Yeah, what's normal? I don't know. And the trend is not positive right now at all. We were actually starting to talk about having our city council meetings back in person again, having coffee with the mayor in person, and bring our committees back to meet in person. But we're pushing that back, and we'll revisit it again probably in August, maybe in September. It's very
it is. It's for us too. So I wish I could answer that question for you.
Yeah.
But I cannot. My crystal ball is out for polishing today, and it is not due back anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't have any better answer either.
Okay, I'm going to take this last question, and then we're going to turn it over to, unless Barb wants to answer the previous question. As someone who emphasizes his lack of allegiance to a particular political party, why did you decide to run as a Democrat instead of an independent again?
That's a good question. Running as an independent, and full disclosure, I tried to do that last year. It's a very, very difficult process. Our political parties are pretty entrenched, and to run as an independent, you have to get signatures. Here I needed about 1,280 signatures, which I thought I had more than enough, but it turned out that not all of them were valid signatures. That process is very difficult and further exacerbated with the pandemic, and going door to door to get signatures, I think is a little irresponsible during this time. And so that said, I had to choose a political party, and I'm more closely aligned with the Democratic Party, and that's why I chose to run as a Democrat.
I will also add my opinion to this, if you don't mind. This is another place that I think the residents of the county would be best served just like with municipal government, we run at large, and we run with no party affiliation. The county would be way better served if we could all, if the people running for county council and even the county executive were not Republican or Democrat, that they were just apolitical, because there is too much politics that go on here, and it doesn't need to be. The point of running at this level, at the county level and at the municipal level, is to serve the interest of the people. And there are not enough political issues that come into play here that require, in my humble opinion, anyone to run with any party affiliation. And it is not until you get into the state level that you really need to have that party affiliation. And I think because it is difficult, as Mayor Glantz said, to run as an independent, I think it precludes so many good people from possibly stepping up and running for public office. And if I could wave my magic wand, those are the two things I would change about county government. Get out of the municipal business and don't run with any political party affiliations. But my magic wand is out for cleaning too. So that's it. Yeah, see, I don't know. Can we count on you to help protect women's rights of reproductive freedom and choice? I don't know if county gets involved in that.
I don't know if county does either, but yes, you can count on me in that regard.
Right. These are the sorts of things that I think that you don't start to get to that point until you are at the state level. And so I think the county would be so better served if we could just make those two changes. Well, actually, there are three, but I think the county should be run by a professional manager. Like we run here in the city, we have a city manager, and that is their job, and they know how to do it. They are professionals at doing it. And I think when you have a county that is run by a professional city type manager, you get a better result. But
I think you've said that very well. And we're the beneficiaries of elected officials should set policy, should build consensus, but a professional manager can objectively enact those policies. And it should be for the betterment of the entire community. And I agree with all three of your assessments, but we have to take baby steps to get there.
Exactly. So, all right, again, magic wand and crystal ball all out. So, and thank you, Ed. I appreciate that response. So with that, we are going to say thank you very much to Mayor Glantz for taking the time to spend with us this morning and opening himself up for questions. It is not usually my preference to tell people how to vote, but I will tell you that I think Mayor Glantz would do a great job for us in the county. I think he understands municipal government better than most people do, and it has been both a privilege and a pleasure to work with him in the Municipal League. So take that for what it is.
Thank you.
So now our second guest today is from the Great Rivers Greenway, and I'm going to read her introduction to you if you don't mind. Today, we welcome Angelica Gutierrez, Project Manager with Great Rivers Greenway. Great Rivers Greenway is a public agency created in 2000 by voters in St. Louis City, St. Louis County, and St. Charles County to connect the region with a network of greenways. Greenways are outdoor spaces that connect people and places. Each greenway in the St. Louis region is unique and reflects the characteristics of the communities it connects. The common elements of all greenways include trails for walking, biking, running, pushing a stroller, using a wheelchair, getting fresh air, amenities such as benches and trash cans, conservation areas to restore native habitats and manage stormwater, and connections to parks, neighborhoods, waterways, businesses, and destinations. There are currently 128 miles of greenways throughout St. Louis City, St. Louis County, and St. Charles County, with many more currently being designed and built. Greenways are treasured spaces for improving physical and mental health, providing transportation choices, and connecting people to nature, community, and each other. The proposed segment of the Centennial Greenway in the city of Olivet will connect from the existing Centennial Greenway at 170 and Olive to Warson Park. The segment is approximately 2.67 miles in length and follows along an abandoned railway spur owned by Union Pacific in Olivet and continues to Indian Meadows Park and then on to Warson Park. So that is it in a nutshell, but Angelica is going to show us two videos, and I chose the two videos specifically for those who are not familiar with any part of this project. I think the first one was a good introductory video, and I think it needed to be shown. And I apologize for those who are familiar with it, that it's going to be a little redundant for you. But the second video then is brand new, and we'll show you all the updates that we're currently planning. And just for those who may not know Beverly Tucker Knight, I can't imagine that you don't know her. She's our Parks and Rec Director, and she has joined us too. So without further ado, Angelica, it is all yours.
Thank you very much, Mayor Springer, and thank you for allowing us and opening this communication channel for Great Rivers Greenway to show you all the things that we're working in your community. We are very excited about this project. We have worked so many years on it. I personally just started working on this project this 2020, and I love the energy. City staff has been great to work with. Beverly, Barbara, Bruce, Carlos, everybody there has been very cooperative with us. So I'm gonna show you, let me see, I'm gonna share my screen first, and I'm gonna show you, like you said, the planning study recap. So let me know if this is working for you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna play this video, and like I said, this happened already in 2018, so you'll see some familiar faces in this video. So let's get this going. I'm gonna play this.
Angelica, is there supposed to be sound?
Yes, you cannot hear the sound?
No.
Oh no. What to do, what to do?
And perhaps you could make the screen a little larger too by clicking up in the top.
Maybe on the screen options.
Beverly?
Well, the full screen's the little square in the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah. If you full square.
Okay.
An alignment.
I think, yeah, I'm so sorry. Well, let's
2018 planning study.
Okay,
All about
alrighty. So I'm gonna rewind. It's just 3 minutes, if that's okay with you.
Yes,
It's important to hear. All right, I'm so sorry. Okay, here.
And if you could,
Welcome,
if you could
and
make
thanks for
it
watching.
full.
This video is a recap of the Centennial Greenway Planning Study conducted in 2018. Building a greenway typically includes these project phases: Regional Master Plan, Greenway Master Plan, Segment Planning, Segment Design and Site Control, Segment Construction, and Greenway Operations and Maintenance. In 2004, the River Ring Master Plan established the vision for a regional network with over 600 miles of greenway. In 2006, the Centennial Greenway Master Plan was completed, defining a 17-mile greenway that will stretch from Forest Park to St. Charles County. In 2018, you helped plan the location of the greenway through the development of a planning study, also referred to as an alignment study. The 2018 planning study was all about finding the best route for the Centennial Greenway through Olivet, from its current endpoint at Olive Boulevard and Interstate 170 to Worson Park. The planning process was driven by community engagement through public meetings and surveys, and with the help of a community advisory committee made up of Olivet residents and business people. Together, we agreed to a shared set of goals which will guide decision-making throughout the project. Those goals are to connect people and places, to foster community and economic development, to optimize safety for users and neighbors, and to promote environmental stewardship. Each goal is associated with a set of specific objectives that support the Greenway's success. Next, we studied a number of potential routes, both east and west of Dealman Road. After looking at how well each one met the project goals, a clear preferred route was identified. The preferred route goes along Olive Boulevard to CVS, where it turns to follow the former Union Pacific Railroad, meeting up with the River Des Peres and passing through Indian Meadows Park on its way to Worson Park. The planning study also identified a potential alternate route along Dealman Industrial Drive, which may replace the railroad segment. These route alternatives allow the flexibility to complete the project in 2 phases if needed. After completion of the planning study, the project moved into the segment design and site control phase. You can learn more about this phase of the project and our current progress by visiting us at our website. Thank you for watching.
Right. Well, this is this one. So do
Yeah,
you
this will
have
be updated, right? You're going to give us the updated version?
this? Yeah. So now I'm going to give you the update of the preliminary design. So that's the next video. This one is a little bit longer. It's 5 minutes, and it's giving an update on all of the work we have been doing for the preliminary design of this project. So
Welcome, and thanks for watching. We are pleased to share an update on the progress of this exciting project. Building a greenway typically includes these project phases: Regional Master Plan, Greenway Master Plan, Segment Planning, Segment Design and Site Control, Segment Construction, and Greenway Operations and Maintenance. The Centennial Greenway project in Olivet is currently in the Segment Design and Site Control phase. Segment Design and Site Control is split into 3 parts: Preliminary Design, Intermediate Design, and Final Design. We have just completed Preliminary Design, and we would like to share it with you. During preliminary design, we have been developing site-specific plans and estimating construction costs. We have also been working with key stakeholders to coordinate and refine the route. The Centennial Greenway will be extended through Olivet from Interstate 170 and Olive Boulevard to Worson Park. Let's take a closer look. Along Olive Boulevard, the Greenway will be extended from its current endpoint, crossing under Interstate 170, to be incorporated in the new Olive Crossing development. At Hilltop Avenue, the Greenway will cross Olive Boulevard, passing in front of Chevy's to CVS. Picking up at the existing pedestrian plaza at CVS, the Greenway will extend northward, with a new mini trailhead providing access for Greenway users, and continuing on past the city's public works and connecting to the former Union Pacific Railroad. Here's how the pedestrian plaza at CBS looks today, and how this gateway will look in the future. As the Greenway continues northward along the former Union Pacific Railroad, it will provide greenway access for those who work in Dealman Industrial Park. As the Greenway departs from the railroad, it joins up with the River des Peres before reaching the crossing at Dealman Road. If we are unable to acquire the railroad property, it may be necessary to take an alternate route in this segment. Possible alternatives would follow Dealman Industrial Drive, meeting up with the trail segment currently being built by the City of Olivet, leading along Dealman Road and connecting to the city center. West of Dealman, the Greenway follows along Napoleon Boulevard, bringing visitors into Indian Meadows Park, where it will replace a portion of the existing pathway. A new retaining wall will make room for the Greenway along Napoleon Boulevard. A new trail connection point at the west end of Indian Meadows Park will provide access to the Greenway from Huron Drive and from the existing playground and pavilion. Exiting Indian Meadows Park, the Greenway will continue westward toward Warson Park. Through this segment, the Greenway will follow a strip of city-owned land on the south bank of the River des Peres. This cross-section view shows the relationship between the Greenway and neighboring residential properties. Improvements in this area are expected to include stream bank stabilization and restoration, as well as landscape screening for neighboring properties. Entering Warson Park, the Greenway will replace an existing path along the north side of the athletic fields and connect to the future community center, setting the stage for a future connection to 39 North across Warson Road. Let's zoom out for a final overall look at the preliminary design. We have described the Centennial Greenway as extending from Olive and Interstate 170 to Warson Park. However, it may be necessary to build the Greenway in two phases. In this case, Dealman Road would generally serve as the dividing line between Phase 1 and Phase 2. Our next steps will be the intermediate and final design stages. During these stages, we'll be working out the details and adding the features that make for a great Greenway experience. For example, we'll be determining trail widths, designing areas for amenities, locating signage, selecting fencing and site furnishings, designing new landscape plantings while protecting existing trees, and addressing drainage challenges, which may include engineering walls and other structures, like bridges and boardwalks. What would make your Centennial Greenway experience great? Please tell us by responding to the survey via the link in the video description. Thank you for watching. See you on the Greenway.
All right. Well, that's that. A lot of information in those videos. Like the video said, the last video, please, we invite the city to share these videos as much as you can to get that survey going. That survey, that online survey, will feed our designers with the input from the public on amenities and opinions on how people will be using the Greenway for us to make an educated design on what features this Greenway needs to have. As you know, Greenways can be on different colors and sizes, and we adapt those to the community that we're building it in. So we would love to hear from people and what they have to say. So today is our kickoff of these videos, and your event allowed us to do that. We will be, publishing these in our website today. As of, I believe we are waiting for this to end and then publish it online, and it'll be shared with the world. So, do you guys have any questions for me?
I think that's great. Thank you so much for those two videos. I know we can put those up online. I'll leave it up to Beverly and Barb to decide where they'll go up online, but they will be on our website. So people can respond to those surveys and give you the feedback that you're looking for. I know that you have been meeting with some of the shareholders that live actually back in Indian Meadows and having conversations with them, especially people who will be directly in contact with the Greenway itself, the trail. So I know that you've been really good stewards about that and inviting our residents into that conversation. So we thank you for that as well. I do have one question so far for you. This is from Ed. The unincorporated industrial park just north of Olivet creates a tremendous amount of noise all day and frequently into the night. Does the Greenway include a plan to mitigate that noise?
As of right now, I don't believe we have, but thank you for letting us know. We will look into that. I know there is a heavy vegetation buffer there between that portion of town and the Greenway and Indian Meadows there. But with Beverly, we can look at these options. I know we are wanting to preserve all the trees that are in good condition and good health. We want to remove vegetation that is invasive and it's causing trouble, or we will need to make room for the improvements of the Greenway. I know some of that vegetation is a buffer of noise and sound, but we'll have to look into that. But so thank you for sharing that. We'll make it part of the intermediate design, which is our next phase.
I will say that the Greenway is investing a tremendous amount of money into our community. And I think for that, we are very appreciative. This is a project that would have been a little bit more difficult for the city of Olivet to accomplish on its own because of the cost. And the fact that it's going to connect one side of our city with the west side with the east side, I think is really great for those of us who love to walk. This will just be another place for us to explore and to walk in, and I think all of that is great. So another question is, at Olive Connection from the existing Greenway, any thought to a bridge, or will people need to cross the traffic at the light?
Yeah, as of right now, we have crossing at the light, at grade crossing, but that needs to change in number one, width. So we need to make that crossing wider to allow more Greenway users to cross, and the timing will have to be adjusted as well. So part of the project, we are proposing safety improvements to the traffic signal there with no bridges. Unfortunately, there is not enough room there for any pedestrian bridge at that location.
It's my experience in looking at some of the plans for 39 North, which do include currently a bridge across Olive to connect now Bayer with Danforth. You need a long ramp up to get the stairs or any other ADA access situation up and then across, and you need MoDOT approval to put a bridge because Olive is a state road, not a city road, and so it is complicated and it is incredibly costly to build a bridge. I can't even imagine.
You got it.
So those are all the impasses that can happen because of that. They are working diligently to make sure that that crossing will be safe. There's another question. Is there a problem acquiring the railroad right of way?
It's not a problem. It's just a process, a long process. So I'll tell you what I know. It's the latest information we obtained from them. Actually, Union Pacific Railroad representative came to the city of Olivet some months ago, and they visited with us. We walked under the rain, and they explained the process. We need to abandon this parcel out of the used to be a main line of Union Pacific Railroad. So it's a very lengthy process, and actually that's the biggest reason why we are splitting this project into 2 phases, because this is going to delay us at least 12 months to try to acquire that parcel from the Union Pacific Railroad. We are prepared to acquire it. It's just not going to happen in the next few months. It is scheduled for 2021, if all goes well. So I don't want to call it a problem. It's a process that takes time. So we're being diligent and, working with them. And actually today we have a board meeting with Great Rivers Greenway, and I am requesting some funding to start that process now. So we can have our consultant, WSP, to work on that negotiation with them.
I think too, for those who may or may not be familiar, the city of Olivet did try to acquire that property quite a number of years ago and met with some strong resistance from the railroad. They kept thinking that they were going to actually use it at some point in time, which obviously they've never done. But I think the fact that Great Rivers Greenway has a lot of strength behind it. It is an organization that is looking to do something worthwhile, not just on a local level, but a regional level.
Right.
I think that they will succeed in a place where the city was not able to be successful in acquiring that property. So it is, as Angelica says, it is a process. People think that government has many layers. The railroad is multi-layered, and you have to continue to move up to get to where you want to be and to get that process through all of its steps. But I have full faith that Great Rivers Greenway will acquire that property because they have the greenways behind them. So,
yeah.
But that is just a little aside. The question from Larry: hello, Larry. Will the city of Olivet add sidewalks along Alice Place to connect Arrowhead Park and the Hilltop area to the Greenway, or could this connection be part of the Greenway?
Well, I don't know if the city of Olivet wants to answer that, but I'll tell you what I know. And it happens everywhere. When we start planning and designing a greenway, it becomes like a desired fruit. So connections are created as part of the design. So this is perfect opportunity for whoever asked that question to go online and add that note there, because that's how we gather this information. Even if it's the city of Olivet installing those and connections to the greenway, or we can make them part of the greenway, that's a conversation that needs to happen now. So thank you so much for asking that question, and have them coming. Now is the time to request or clarify what points, like access points, the greenway will have.
So may I ask of Beverly and Barb, while this is such an important topic, can we put this on the front page someplace, put that video on the front page, or wherever the link is that people would need to go to in order to be able to post their comments? And Larry, if you would be good enough, would you mind going in, give Barb and Beverly a little bit of time to get it up onto the website, but then go in and post that comment? Because I think if things are going to happen and people want them to happen, and not everything that everybody's going to ask for is going to happen, but these are the ideas that need to populate into their thought process in order for them to even possibly become a reality. So anybody that has any of these thoughts, please just go and put them out there, and let's see what can come of it. Because if we don't ask, we'll never have that opportunity to get. So let's make that happen. Barb.
Hi, Mayor, if I might say something to or address a little bit Larry's question about a sidewalk. Staff has actually been looking at how we can both design and fund that sidewalk, because we agree that having a connection, that east-west connection to bring that Hilltop area kind of in towards Price Road is an important connection. And we've actually looked at we've been looking at how we might be able to do that, as well as how we might be able to fund it. So I agree that if Mr. Koenig could put his comment on that on the GRG page, that would also allow us to get some additional information and support for that connection, because we really are, one of our focus areas is trying to increase that connectivity of that northeast segment of Olivet and bring it really into the city.
There you go, Larry. So now you know what you have to do. Are there any other questions for Angelica? Any questions for me? Any questions for Mayor Glantz? Beverly? What I would like to say to all of you who are here today is I wanted to thank you very much for your support of Prop C. We could not have done that without all of you. I am looking forward to amazing designs for our parks, an amazing new community center, more input from all of you, more comments from all of you. This is how things get done, when we all have civil conversation about issues that are important to all of us, and that we build a community together. So I'm really, really, really excited about this. For those who don't know, somewhere in the next, probably now, the old City Hall property is actually coming down. It is ironic that it is almost 6 years to the day that, in a couple of weeks, it'll be 6 years since we voted that proposition in, and we started the construction of our present home on Dealman at the city center there. So great things are happening here in the city, and it's really, really an exciting time to be here and to watch it all happen. And it happens because residents believe in our community. They believe that we can do these things, and then we make them happen. So thank you to all of you for that support. I really appreciate it. And I know the city council does, and I know that the staff does. So thank you very much. Question: has Olivet made a clean energy pledge? I do not know the answer to that. No, we have not. And I don't know what's involved with that. So it's a conversation that we can explore. It's a conversation we can look into. I think that before you make any pledges, you should always know what you're pledging, and what are the unintended consequences, or maybe not, that's not right, maybe not the right word, but what is it we're committing to? I want to make sure that whatever we commit to, we can do. And if we can't do it, then we can explain why we can't do those sort of things. Is it a limitation of space, a limitation of money, a limitation of ability? And I think that simply taking a pledge and saying we're going to do it, it's taking the pledge and saying we pledge to it without being able to implement it, that's silly. So let us have an opportunity to look into it, and we can get back and have that conversation again at another coffee with the mayor. Do the Olivet Police wear cameras? No, they do not wear cameras at this point in time. We've had this conversation a couple times. We certainly had it at the last coffee with the mayor, but I'm happy to go over that again. We do not wear they do not wear cameras at this present time. That is something that has been discussed, and it is something in the capital improvement plan for acquisition. Part of the reason that we've held off on that is it's multiple reasons. The expense, where does the information get stored? How long will it be stored? How long does it need to be stored? And there has been the discussion and the issue of privacy. So, when an officer comes into your home along with the EMS, and they're there with their body cameras on, obviously that is being filmed. Now that can have protection because it's a health related issue, but there are other reasons that they come in that you may not want your, once it becomes public information, your neighbor can ask under FOIA for that film, for that video. So those are the issues of privacy that's the other side of the coin, where everyone can see what the officer is doing. Everyone can see what the officer is doing, and you want to balance your privacy with the right to know. So those are the things that we're still working out. It doesn't mean that isn't going to, the cameras aren't going to happen. It's again, you have to fully understand and fully vet things before you jump into them. Because if you don't, then you encounter things like that. And I just want to make sure that we've looked at all those things. How we're going to store it is especially important. And you store it in the cloud. And what if the cloud gets breached? You know, all of those issues need to be really fully understood, and then we can move forward in a very responsible way, so that it can provide another layer of protection for both police and for the community. So, Barb, you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you had it. Sorry.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Questions for Angelica, Barry, Beverly, Barb, me?
No.
I'd like to be able to tell you that we are going to be back at City Hall in August. I don't know for sure. I'm trying to feel my way through all of this too, in terms of my comfort level. I do plan to do a city council meeting tonight, actually from City Hall, but I will be the only council member there. I guess we just have to, keep watching your emails and keep watching the public notices. And I hope that in the not too distant future, if not August, but in perhaps September, it will say that we will all be back together at City Hall. We'll figure out a way to distance, to be able to be appropriately distanced, and we'll be able to be more interactive, because I like that way better than seeing little tiny squares with your names on them and you're listed as attendees. That's not as good. Yes, I miss baking for all of you too. I've said that before. I do miss baking for all of you. It's just not the same. So I'm hoping we will be back together soon. So I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you much. If there's no additional questions, thank you again to Mayor Glantz. Thank you to Angelica Gutierrez for coming from Great Rivers Greenway. And please go online and respond to their survey, so that if there are things that we want, we get them done. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Go see the old City Hall get knocked down.
Thanks for including
Thank
me.
you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
You.
Thank you.
Bye.